Hi, I'm Mike Mulligan, and we're talking a little bit about Pilgrim and back on Arkansas Nuclear. So on the daily event reports, the NRC daily event reports, they got two, during the shutdown they got into two, or shortly thereafter they got into two issues. They had trouble controlling the reactor, It wasn't a safety thing, but they had issues with while in the intermediate range. They're supposed to insert all the rods all the way and stuff like that. That's how they shut down. But they got in trouble with controlling pressure, and they had to scram. They were probably happy they scrammed because it takes a little longer time to put in the rods. It's a long time, type of stuff. So, anyways, and then the other one was the equipment hatch. No, let's see. Primary containment airlock failed integrated leak test. It's probably been failed since the last shutdown, or the last time or the first right out of the refueling period. The gaskets are bad. It's probably the gaskets are aged or whatever you want to call it, and they probably could have seen that with the depending upon how bad it was leaking. The containment is filled with nitrogen and it's pressurized at I don't know, a couple of pounds usually, and stuff. So they will probably realize, they could probably see the leakage. Certainly, they have that kind of control as far as measuring the amount of nitrogen they use, and wondering if it, how come they're using so much nitrogen, that type of stuff. So, and it just goes to show, they had troubles with the SRVs, right? SRVs this operational period, the last 18 months, I don't know, 2 shutdowns, probably we're heading towards a third, and then the blizzard knocked them off, and then it, leaked once. They were restricted at 94% power, then leaked again, and down to 80% power and stuff. They can't make money on 80% power, right? If they did that the whole year. So anyways, Arkansas. It's on my blog. Got an ambulance out here right in the front. This tragic serial falsification at Arkansas Nuclear One. There's a whole host of issues I've talked about, whether it's Palisades and the DC event, and horrid safety conditions of the plant, the horrid conditions of the employees before the DC event, and stuff like that. And it must have been a horrible place to work, as far as being so dysfunctional and stuff. So if they're not following procedures and they're not taking safety, they're not doing their job right. It's a falsification. It's corruption, and stuff. And it led with human health. A guy in a DC breaker panel without the proper protections and stuff like that, and he dropped a bus work and tripped the plant. What besides that, it disabled an enormous proportion of the safety systems of the DC side and stuff. It was a trip that they really didn't need, and all that sort of stuff. But anyways, and there was a host of other issues, like I talked about, Grand Gulf or River Bend, one having an engineer that was intimidated, and they discovered the QA program was dysfunctional and fleet-wide, and a host of plants didn't have QA people properly qualified and stuff. They've had to change tech specs across the board as far as getting the right right QA qualifications and stuff. And how about that Riverbend? I guess it was that operators watching going on the internet. A bunch of them going on the internet and stuff while they were in the control room and that type of thing, right? So here's another one. Now this happened at April 14th. They put it on the NRC website. It's an OI investigation of Arkansas Nuclear One, the guy that dropped the stator, and essentially a senior emergency planner at Energy Operations willfully falsified documents related to miscellaneous drill and surveillance. So the investigation began on January 9th, 2012. January 12th, the ANO emergency, the manager notified the NRC inspector and regional emergency preparedness inspectors that the senior employee had apparently falsified documents. You know what that says? Almost to you that the NRC was banging around, or there was an employee banging around, a whistleblower or that type of thing, and he was raising some dust up, and Energy decided that they're going to come clean, and they must have said there, well, this is how we're going to get it that we admitted the problem, when essentially they didn't voluntarily admit it. They got caught with their pants down, and they jumped out. They jumped the gun before the NRC could charge them with the falsification. And what is interesting about this whole deal, on the 9th and January 9th, 2000, and then they retained the services of a bunch of lawyers, Bolt, Bingham, and LLP Birmingham. These guys are a sophisticated group of huge lawyer group, corporation, company, whatever, and stuff. They've been into a lot of stuff, and they specialize in a lot of things. They specialize in influencing our government, especially the NRC and on energy services and a host of things. These guys are highly qualified to do what they do, and the whole thing stinks because why would you want an employee falsified emergency preparedness, right? Falsified documents and stuff like that. Why wouldn't you want to let the NRC in there by themselves and discover stuff? And these kind of lawyer groups, they had one day hired a big old Boston firm. For me, when I was there, another 150 lawyer group, business company, whatever. And so they're there really to kind of they're the cleaners, They go in there, do the investigation on their own. They decide with the help of management, what employee they have to control and how they say it and stuff, and how they prepare the story to the NRC and things like that. How do they massage it? Which way you want the story to go to the NRC and all that sort of stuff. So that it stinks to high heaven. I tell you, to tell you the way that this thing went down. Well, if they were so innocent, why do they need this big old lawyer group? If it was an outliner employee and stuff like that, why do they need this huge law group, Alabama law group, If they were innocent and they had confidence in themselves, why do they need a law group to do an independent investigation? Independent, my ass. That wasn't independent. This is these guys. They're cleaners. That's what they are. They're cleaners. They frame the story to the NRC and stuff like that, and to the public at large. Well, what do they have to frame, right? There's nothing in the public about what went on. And this asked us, if with this thing here, if they knew all that was wrong, right, and instead of hiding it and stuff like that, and they knew how widespread this falsification issue was with Arkansas Nuclear One 6 months ago, right? And they took it to heart. What was going on and that type of stuff, and they laid down the law, and managers got fired and all that sort of stuff. Would you end up with a death at Arkansas One? Would you end up with a death? Probably. It's just by the grace of God, there wasn't more dead type of thing, or more damage and stuff, or a different kind of accident with more consequences from taking shortcuts and stuff like that. So you just have to wonder, if this last drop in the statter could have been stopped in 6 months ago or stuff like. And this is an indication, that again that groups, associations, behaviors, cultures, and relationships. It's a standard type of thing, and they're all wrapped in this dysfunctional type of organization and stuff. And how do you break it? So, anyways, this is the OI factual summary of investigative report 4-212-204. And so the senior emergency planner at Energy Operation Incorporated willfully falsified documents related to miscellaneous drills and surveillances. The OI investigate report on January 9th, 2012, the licensee research, the OI investigation report that on the NRC OI investigate report that on January 9th, 2012, the licensee researched the exercise drill documentation as a result of record-keeping discrepancy identified in late December 2011. Right. So this guy, this senior emergency planner, he's going to court. The NRC is going to charge him. Unless he pled guilty and stuff. That he admitted to it and stuff like that. That's probably what the lawyers got him to do. They probably said, "Hey, listen, plead guilty. You're probably going to get dinged, and we'll figure out a way that you still get your retirement or some sort of special deal in the background. Help us." Deflect away from accountability with higher management, and if you get scapegoated, don't worry, we'll take care of you. They probably made a deal. There's probably a contract in there about that type of thing. I mean, that's what I would do if they wanted to scapegoat me, fall on my sword for the company. I'd make sure it wasn't just agreements. I'd make sure that it's in a legal contract if that was me. So, anyways, during He admitted to generating false documentation over a period of 4 years. So everybody's dying to know what got the energy into investigating this. How did they find it out? Probably is an underling trying to sabotage him. I want his job, and so, or probably an enemy, if somebody took somebody off and he said, "Oh, well, I'll get even. I'll find something you did wrong," or what have you. You really don't know how they came to this. And like I said, we don't know if it was a whistleblower that jumped up and either tickled the NRC or hinted to where the bad stuff was, and like I said, in Energy jumping in there saying we're going to go take credit for disclosing this on our own and stuff. You don't know, and you don't know if the NRC's in the game too. You know, making them, you know, the investigators saying, this is the investigators mostly only. What gets in the reports is like this is mostly Energy's interpretation of events, and very little of the NRC's interpretation of events. Right? Whatever it's, the NRC is only dictated by evidence, and if Energy is tricky enough, and these kind of lawyer group, a lawyer group like that is, they're the best of the best. Even if you're, when I had one of their senior lawyers asking me questions in a proceeding, and he could talk really smooth. He sliced and diced me, and I thought I thought he was a nice guy. And when you sat back and said it, looked at the transcripts, he sliced and diced me like a gentleman. But so, anyways, that's the remedial action against the employee commensurate with the circumstances that demonstrated the seriousness of the violation, thereby creating a deterrent effect with a licensee organization. I bet you this guy, this emergency planner, it's probably a good job. It's damn well probably a good job. And stuff. He got good money, and he probably didn't do much work, and got outside the plant quite a bit. And so we're thinking that they were short HP techs, or the HP techs were busy, or they didn't have enough, and so at times, and so instead of having them be involved with the emergency planning type of ventures, he just falsified the paperwork. His job, why he got promoted, was to make the system to take shortcuts, and because they didn't have enough HP health physics, those guys that were taking the samples and doing the surveillances and all that sort of stuff. So they probably couldn't take them away from their duties at the plant, right? So he just falsified the paper. So, what does that mean? Remedial action. Based on the results of the investigation, I don't understand this. I understand it. Based on the investigation, results of this investigation, one apparent violation was identified and is being considered for escalated enforcement actions in accordance with the NRC enforcement policy. In addition, since you identified the violation and based on our understanding of your corrective action, so they split it in half. They said, well, we're just going to look at this on the employee level. He admitted it. He admitted the violation. He willfully violated procedures, type of stuff. And on the other hand, Energy called us into a meeting, and they disclosed that they found these falsifications and stuff like that. So they're treating the person here as just a entity unto himself, and not within a system. And that. A series of where is? Oh man. I'm panicking now, so I'm hitting my links too much and I'll crash my computer. So this is the report on it. It's hardly nothing. Like I said, they're probably going in. Listen to some of this stuff. Had apparently falsified related to emergency preparedness drills conducted in this December 2011. Arkansas Nuclear One determined that these drills were falsified in December 2010, and several other required surveillance were also falsified by the emergency planner. Assurances that the licensee had performed periodic drills to develop and maintain emergency response organization skills and have adequately maintained facilities to support an emergency response. So you know what is going on with this senior planner and everybody involved on it is that they all think the emergency planning is bullshit. They'll never have an emergency response, so and they, you know, kind of ideologically show contempt for, we have a perfect system, and we'll never use the emergency response issues and stuff like that. You know, they're all steeped in this republicanism type of stuff and contempt for emergency planning and safety and all that sort of stuff. And so that, you know, that's what essentially this is about. You never get the idea of what the emergency planner philosophy thinks about the philosophy that he's under, and all the republicanism talk and all that sort of stuff, and what he really feels about the emergency response type of thing. You know, some of these guys, believe me, if you get them by themselves and talking about this, like I said, you know, they think, you know, this is all liberal baloney and it's worthless and we'll never get in that trouble and all that sort of stuff, and it's really just nothing, do nothing work and all this. In addition, since you have, here we go. In addition, since you have identified the violation and based on our understanding of your corrective actions, a civil penalty may not be warranted in accordance with section blah blah blah. See, you know, all they have to do is punish that guy and do a set of corrective actions, and really you know, fill out a couple of pages of paperwork, and who knows how deep the problem goes. The A&O admitted to generating false documentation over a period of 4 years. So why do you think this is all? You know, do you think that, doesn't this question whether other plants are doing the same thing? You think this guy's all by himself? How about A&O too? Did they check that out? Right? Did the NRC check that out? How about a quick investigation of all the plants to see if they weren't all doing the same thing? Right? How do we know as a nation? All these plants aren't contemptuous of emergency evacuation and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, I mean, that's again, you know, they just happy with probably firing this guy. As one commissioner said, you know, he's probably going to be in Florida sitting by a swimming pool, right? Before he knows it. That'd probably be his punishment. In addition, it was determined that the senior emergency planner at A&O falsely documented 3 surveillance required by blah blah blah. He further admitted that he generated false documentations as a result of lack of time management, and the falsification of documents was the most effortless action to take. You got to know the cleaner lawyer group there. You know that you just got to know that they helped them frame that in front of the NRC. They were probably doing that, there's no idea how when this started. Whether they kind of say it started, the investigation started in later part of 2011, but you don't know, when it really started. So extended condition and cause, did this happen at the brother plant next door? Did this happen? How big was this this essence of falsification? The NRC doesn't ask that. See, that's what the regulations dictate that the inspector report on. They don't get to ask if it's anywhere else. They don't get to the more appropriate way was to assume the other plant did the same thing and make sure that do an investigation on them. So it's been a year now, right? And so if you do an investigation anywhere else in energy, they cleaned up the documents, right? There's just no question that they cleaned up the other plants, their documents, and if the OI was to get involved in that, they would have a clean bill of health. So a lot of this stuff is not nowadays, as far as with energy and the NRC, it's all spin. That's what the system allows. They have such a big barrier. They hide so much from us that they can spin at will. All these guys, instead of sitting there telling us the whole truth, the rules allows them to create an environment of a spinmeister, a continuous spinning machine. And nobody knows where, there's just fragments of the story comes out in the public arena, and nobody knows where it goes. So I think that's it. But other words, and then of course Fitzpatrick, right? I haven't talked about Fitzpatrick. That's Fitzpatrick. Fired, 34 people disciplined at James A. Fitzpatrick nuclear plant. A series of investigations at Fitzpatrick nuclear plant. Federal prosecutors are involved. It could face civil actions in the wake of investigations. I don't know how long ago. This is quite a while ago. So I wonder if they've gotten any civil actions. Three investigations were handed over to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Syracuse. What is the Syracuse office? The attorney's U.S. Attorney's Office. What do they know about nuclear power and all that sort of stuff? And how, he's probably sitting there. And those rules, them nuclear guys, the rules are so simple-minded, and you can't catch anybody and stuff like that. So why should I waste any time any court time, and he's probably saying to himself, I got so many other, I'm overburdened with my other, with all the rest of the crooks in the world. Why should I waste my time on Fitzpatrick and stuff? I'd like to see whatever happened to that. But it all ends up in a deal behind closed doors, and you never know what goes on. So the guy was too busy, and they were fitting respirators. I can tell you, the worst situation I was ever in was when I was down underneath the vessel in the intermediate range. Underneath the vessel, the fuel was right above. The big vessel was atop me, and the pedestal area, and I was in 2 wetsuits. A regular anti-CDL, 2 wetsuits, air supplied doohickey, and all sorts of tape around my face as far as to stop the radiation to come in, to get me. I didn't get crapped up or anything like that during this thing, but you knew you was in a high contaminated area. And that's what a respirator is. A lot of times, respirators, if you're in a fire, you're going to be using a respirator. If you're in a contaminated area, you're going to be using a respirator. And so they fit your face and stuff. And then there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of employees. There was a lot of employees that knew there was wrongdoing going on at Fitzpatrick, right? And none of them had the guts to put a stop to it. Except one guy. Is this the guy where they had the whistleblower step in and catch these guys? The NRC found that 2 unidentified staff-level individuals acted with careless disregard by not following through on these suspicions that the respirator fit test. Why isn't this public record? Why do we hide these people behind these violators of rules and stuff, and falsifiers? Why do they hide the names? If they do wrong, why isn't that out in front of the public? And the same thing, this is Fitzpatrick. The NRC informed Energy that the second investigation would see. The NRC informed Energy. How come the NRC is informing Nick Pack? They did it sounds like the NRC did the investigation, and Energy didn't have this famous legal firm in there type of stuff. They probably did, but they weren't really investigating it. They were allowing the NRC to do it and stuff. So the NRC informed Energy that the second investigation found McCormick deliberately failed to document required air samples or make sure workers leaving a radioactive controlled area went through the contamination monitors. So it's this is a prolonged. Most of the 34 workers who were disciplined were workers who should have known that their fit tests for the respirators were either not done or were incomplete. It's probably what they had to do. There's it's hard for operators or anybody else to make time for this type of thing, right? And so it just was, it's just easier on everybody if you just fill out the paperwork and that type of thing. It's hard scheduling a test and having a person, off work or not involved in something else on his day, on the day that he's free and stuff. So it's a really hard thing to get everybody respirator tested and stuff. And so it's just easy to falsify it. And a host of 34 workers were disciplined for knowing that the test was wrong. He was doing the test wrong. He just filling out the paperwork and stuff. And so you see the nature of this in Fitzpatrick back a few years ago. how widespread the feeling is, the idea of taking shortcuts and not following the rules and filling out paper inaccurately and all that sort of stuff is going on in energy. And you certainly see it in the energy with the emergency planner there guy. It's a long-term falsification deal, and who knows if they really got all the falsification issues that was going on. How could you tell? So kind of admit to 3 or 4, going back to maybe 2008 and that type of thing, and everybody would be happy. And nobody knows the nature of how big this is. And like I said, you should have right off the bat there investigated the sister plant, ANO2, and somebody should have thought as this is really serious and got a whole bunch of people, investigators crawling all over the place in ANO2, and if you would have found another one at ANO2, then you would have gone into Rested Energy as gangbusters. And if you would have found the third one, then you would have said it's probably an industry issue, and you would have grabbed a couple other plants and checked for the same kind of falsification issue here. But anyways, you see what the system does? It makes falsification experts out of us all. It really does that. We don't have enough time. It's too complicated. Our lives are too busy, and chances are we see it as there's so much going on at a plant, the chances of us getting caught are minimal, and we would never get caught. Type of attitude and stuff. So that's what I'm saying is that there's a culture of falsification in energy. Certainly, this has implications that it was all throughout energy. Arkansas Nuclear One, and that type of stuff in the year preceding the before the drop statter, and you just got to wonder how much this cult of falsification caused the drop statter. Thank you.